Hi there. My name's John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text, time to an item from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer or the kids' room or the garage. You know how we've been doing it. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your week with me in this way. Thank you for your partnership in this ministry. And most importantly, thank you for the love that you are sharing with your kids, your congregations, and your families. You are rocking it. Thank you. Before I start on, this is for the 17th Sunday after Pentecost, and we're looking at the gospel lesson. Before all of that, every now and then when I look through the videos, when I'm like looking at comments and that, every now and then I'll get a dislike on a video. And, a while back, I had a grace rant where I ranted about grace and all of that. And I always try to figure out, not every video is perfect. And as we all know, been doing this it's all coming up like 10 and a half years. And so there are ones that are, yeah, that's great. And there's ones I look back and go, But anyway, but I always like, when I get a dislike, I'm like, what caused that? What brought that out? And I realized that it's either because I've mentioned my passion and love for children and children of God that are LGBTQIA, like the picture on the back there, that's Jesus wrapping his arms around the children with the rainbow flags, or here a picture of from The Last of Us, the TV series that a friend of mine up in Seattle, Nick, bought that for me and sent it to me. It's the story of the two men that are sharing the strawberries. Fantastic, one of the best episodes of The Last of Us. And so sometimes I'll mention that and I get a dislike, and I'm like, or if I'm like talking about COVID and shutdown and the things that we did and the passions that we all of that. The reason I'm bringing that, I got my booster. I got my COVID booster yesterday and my flu shot, and I highly recommend you do that if you're able to do that, especially the flu shot and the COVID. Both, I got them both, and they're in my dominant arm, so I'm like working the arm so I can make sure that. Anyway, I see that and I was like, you know what? It's a springboard to let you know that I love you all, and the passion about all of the children of God in that spectrum and on the rainbow is God loves you and God loves the world. And in that includes our brothers and sisters that identify as LGBTQIA, and I need to learn the extras on that, because yeah, just as we belong, we all belong. So, and now, I was going to say enough of that, but that pulls it up. So we are looking at the text, and I'm looking at the gospel text, which is Peter's confession, but then also Peter gets rebuked, both and. Peter, it's like, whew, that escalated quickly, to quote Anchorman. But so we got that. And then we have James, we're talking about how our tongues can get us in trouble. Our language can get us in trouble. How we talk about our neighbors can get us into trouble, because we say, sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us or hurt me. And we actually know that's not true. We know that sticks and stones may break our bones, and words most definitely can hurt me. And so we're looking at that, and the direction, the springboard I'm using is something I've used before, but it seems like it's been a while, and it's the one-way arrow. And I love this, and this can be used in so many different ways. But this one, so we've got the one-way arrow. Let me make sure where. Yep. And then I'll show you how we make it. I'm going to tilt this down just a little bit so we can see all of that. All right, so we've got the one-way arrow, and the idea is that we've got the arrow on this side, we've got the arrow on this side. The arrow on this side, it's pointing up. It's pointing in the one direction that we're headed, and it's pointed up. It's the one way. But in the gospel lesson, Jesus is talking about who he is, and then he asks the disciples who they say he is, and Peter gets it right. You are the Messiah. You are the chosen one of God. This is amazing. And then Jesus starts talking about how the Messiah is going to have to die. And on the third day raise again, but he's going to have to die. And Peter doesn't want to hear that his friend is going to have to die. So Peter pulls him aside and goes, whoa, that is, I don't like that. No way. They're over here talking, blah, 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 blah. That's, that. And Jesus says, get behind me, Satan, which is curious, and we could unpack that in a sermon, but Jesus says, no, there's a direction I'm going, and that's to the cross, and it's the one way that I'm going. So, again, it continues on. And Jesus says, this is the way that I am going. There's going to be a lot of things throughout this journey that wants to pull Jesus to the side, whether that be Jesus in the garden where he says, Father, take this cup from me, but not my will, but your will be done. And God says, you're headed to the cross. That's the direction you're going, and it's the one way. We have times where we get pulled one way. We're like, oh. And it could be, as James talks about, the way we talk about one another, and it's not very loving, and it's not very Christ-like, and we go, I don't like that guy. Kick him out. I don't like who he loves. I don't like who she loves. I don't like who they love. And get out. And Jesus says, no, you all are children of God, and you belong to me, and I love you dearly. And again, it's that we continue to walk in the right direction that way. So that's the one-way arrow, and I think it fits really well, especially when you have Peter going, "Come over this way, come over this way," and then again where you have you got to make sure I've got this right. Drop that. So there we are. Like here, yep, here. And then back to here. So that's the direction. So all right, so what do we do? How do we do that? All right, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get a piece of cardboard, a square piece of cardboard. I'm using a smaller piece for the video, but sometimes I actually get like a big, I'll go down and I'll grab some foam core at the Dollar Tree and make a huge square. And on one side, so the way I do it is, and it's hard because I'm like doing it through the video, but on one side, so you have it like a sign, and you draw the arrow up that way. And then what I do is I pull it this way, it's either turning it that way, or if you wanted to go that way, so you've got the arrow up, if I'm gonna move it that way, so I pull it that way, then I turn it around like this, and I draw the arrow. So again, when I like this, to know which direction I want to draw the arrow here, I move the front arrow to the side, and then when I turn it around, I draw the arrow facing up. All right? So we got the arrow facing up, and now right now this arrow is facing that way, but it doesn't matter. That's the way. So here, I move this way, and I turn it this way, and that's how I know where to draw that. Now, the way to figure out how to turn it is when that arrow is up, you're going to either grab the sides like this, or you're going to grab the sides like this. Because what you're going to do is, instead of turning it on this axis, you're going to take and you're going to turn it like this. So this is your center part, and you turn it like that. And what that does is that moves, it's shifting, it's turning the piece of cardboard in just a little way. To where you've got this, then I'm like, I want to go that way. You take that sign and you pivot it, and you can tell you're turning it right because you're seeing the arrow here, and that's pointing up. And then you turn it around like that, and now it's pointing up again. Now, as you can tell, there's a couple of times where I'm like, okay, now which way do I turn it? Partly is practice, but partly is that, so now this arrow is pointing this way. So I grab back here, and the way I know is that the arrowhead, the arrow that's pointing this way, the top of the arrow is on this side. So I grab the top on this side here, so that the whatever hand is going to be on the top, instead of like this, because the arrowhead is not over on this side, it's over here. So I want to turn here, grab here, and then I turn it like that. And that tells me which side to turn it. So when I go like that, it turns like there, and we're like, no, we're going the one way. The arrowhead is over here, so I grab, pinch here, and turn like this. All right, so that is the one-way arrow. I have gotten so much use. This is like right underneath the paper tear. This is a great one. I've done this as the beginning of a sermon, of like so we've got the sermon on the steps, or the story on the steps, and then for the second sermon, I've used that. Or if we're pulling both sermons in together, I use this. I love it. If you don't use it for this text, file this away, because this is something you will get use with if you haven't used it. All right, so there's that one-way arrow. That is the springboard. That is the children's sermon for this week. Thank you so much for your partnership in this ministry. Thank you for the love that you share with your kids and your congregations and your families. And thank you for all of that, because you are rocking it. Yeah, my squirrels almost got away with me as I was going this way and that. You could see it. I was like, where's it going now? Anyway, thank you for the love that you are sharing with all of your people. You are rocking it. All right, we'll see you next week. Peace.